Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of 100% You, a podcast which is all about discovering who you truly are and becoming the best version of yourself. My name is Bari Borel, and I'll be your host of this podcast. And this is something that I wanted to do for a very long time, so I'm super excited and can't believe I'm actually doing it. I will say that this is something that I actually didn't tell anyone. I'm the kind of person who usually tell my friends like what my next step is. And with this podcast, I just decided that I'll keep it as a secret because it's something that I just like decided that I'm gonna do, and I just started after a few days. And I set myself a goal that only after I have 4 episodes at least, then only I'll start telling my friends. So you're my little secret holders. And once you'll hear this first episode, it probably will be when I'll tell everyone else that I'm doing it. So that's a cool fact. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So, first of all, before that, this is an introduction episode. This is not the first episode. This is just like something that I wanted to give you before we dive into the entire podcast and all the episodes and everything to get to know me a little bit better and to understand what this podcast will be about and what should you expect. So, about me, I'm Bari, as I said. I'm 26 years old. I'm from Tel Aviv, Israel. I grew up here my entire life. I grew up in Tel Aviv. And you probably wonder, so if you're an Israeli, why do you speak English? Why this podcast is not in Hebrew? So, actually, while I was thinking about producing this podcast, I started to think that I don't think I met anyone who's doing like more kind of like self development, I don't know, maybe spiritual podcasts from Israel that speaks English and his native language is Hebrew. So I thought that could be something new and cool. I speak Hebrew, Russian, I'm half Russian, and English. And I thought that I just knew immediately that if I'm going to produce a podcast, it will be in English because I believe that this is how I can reach much wider audience. Like I don't expect to have an audience in the first couple of episodes, but eventually you just need to keep showing up and be consistent, and you never know where you can get eventually. Plus, I'm practicing my English, so why not? So, what is it 100% you? I actually came up with this name a few years back, and I knew that someday I'm gonna use it because I just felt this is something that really resonates with things that I'm talking about with my friends, people around me. I believe that we all have something special that we came into this world with. And for everyone, it can look different. But eventually, in order to really know yourself better, you need to go through some kind of process because throughout the years after we're born, we have influence from our environment, our parents, everything, our mindset, our thoughts, our behaviors, everything shaped by what we learn in our environment that we grew up in. And in order to really know who we are and what our purpose and what our special gifts that we came to this world with, we need to uncover a lot of things. There's people who feel that they know who they are since a really young age and they kind of kept this along the way. But for many people, they kind of forgot who they really are. And for me, 100% you is the journey to come back to yourself and feel the best version of yourself. It's a lifelong journey. It's not a one day, snap and you're the best version of yourself. It's something that takes a while. But eventually, once we really devote to this journey, slowly, slowly we become 100% ourself, which is know what our strength, what our purpose, what we want to do. It becomes easier to make decisions, easier to decide which relationships you want to keep in your life. It becomes easier to know what you want to do in your everyday life. So 100% you for me, it's a reflection of who we truly meant to be. And I'll tell you a little bit about how I came up with starting this podcast because it was really fast decision. I just had an intuition literally like a week and a half ago. I was doing meditation and I've been meditating for almost 2 years now. Every morning I meditate for at least 30 minutes. I try 30 minutes. Some days I have 10 minutes, some days I have 20, but the average is like 30 minutes. Some days I also have like 40 minutes. So last week on one of the meditations, in the middle of the meditation, I just saw a vision of me starting a podcast. And I had like the feeling that I need to record the first episode on November 1st. Today is actually November 2nd. And yesterday I did record the first episode. I did several recordings and I realized that I want to record another time. It took me like a few hours to set the camera and everything and the microphone and to understand where should I edit everything. And after like 2 hours of trying to set up the entire thing, I realized that the camera is not good enough. Like it is good enough, but the setup that I have wasn't good enough. And I was like, okay, let's just record something because like try to look at the camera and also like try to think what I need to say next was like too much and it was overwhelming for me. So I was like, okay, the first episode, maybe the first few ones, I'll just like do me with the microphone sitting on the couch or like sitting on the bed and whatever. And after I have this a little bit of flow and understand how it feels right to me, then I'll open the camera. So, I'm trying my best. And that's also one of the things that if I was telling like my friends what I'm doing, it could be a little bit more stressful because, I have so many things that I need to discover and how to do in order to produce this podcast, which can be overwhelming if, I have people also asking me, how is it going? Okay, so how did I end up doing this podcast? So I said I had the intuition, and it actually was a combination of three things from the past month, I would say. So, first of all, in the past year, I would say, last December, I quit my job. Currently, I said we're in November 2nd. I don't know when exactly you're going to hear this podcast. Hopefully, it will be next week, but you never know. Maybe it will be in 3 weeks or more. But I quitted my job last December. And after I quit my job, I actually quit because I study in university right now. I started my third year in Reichman University. I studied in the international school. I studied business and entrepreneurship. I really love it. I'll talk to you more about it later on this podcast because it was also a hard decision for me. Did I go study or not? Because I felt like I'm too old to start study. Plus, in Israel, everyone starts study pretty late, but we'll get there at some point. So I quit my job because I didn't had the time to work full-time job during my second year. And also I decided that I kind of want to experience and enjoy this period of time because I knew that being in university is something that I never thought I'm gonna do. But if I'm doing it, I want to do it properly and just really enjoy and take everything that I can. Plus, I decided I started to think about doing something on my own. Like I always was more entrepreneurial mindset. I tried to do things in the past. I'll talk about it later on. We'll have plenty of time, but I just was in a phase of I feel that I need to do something on my own, to start my own business, to do something much more purposeful in my life. I am working on a sunglasses brand for the past year and a half. So that was something that I was doing too, but still I felt that I want my everyday life to be more suited to my dreams and to what I actually want to do. So this past year was, I had a lot of free time. During this, a lot of free time that I have, I realized that I was talking to a lot of friends every day and not like the kind of catching up talking to my friends every day, but giving advice to my friends every day for like 1, 2 hours a day. And I've been always was I've always was the kind of person who gives advice to my friends. They come for me if they have, I don't know, any important decision to make or they just like debating about something, should they do it or not. I feel that I always had like the right answers or like direction to give to my friends. So this is something that I knew I'm really good at. But this year, I started to see it much more from the past because I had this free time and I didn't mind to help my friends. But I remember there were a few weeks that literally, like every day for 1 to 2 hours, I was on the phone calls with my friends trying to help them with their own shit. And I was going through shit too, but like I really enjoyed helping them. I remember like specifically 1 week after a phone call with a friend, she asked me, like, I don't know, something really that for me felt really stupid, but she really wanted my opinion in it. And, it's fine. I don't mind. Like, everyone has their stupid questions sometimes. But I thought to myself, I really wish I could like scale my answers and my advice to friends and help more people somehow and like actually make money out of it, because like getting on a phone call with a friend for like 30-40 minutes to help her with something that for me feels like super stupid, and but for her it was like super meaningful, and I get it. It felt like I don't want to say a waste of my time, but it felt for me like I discovered something that can help a lot of people, and it's how to follow your intuition, how to know which decision will be the right one. And then I realized that there's like a mix between all of the answers that I give to my friends. Maybe they have had like completely different questions and completely different advice they ask me for, but the answers were kind of the same. I try not to give them my opinion. I try to mainly ask them questions, reflect, and mirror them and show them what their thinking process is. I try to help them tune to their intuition and like try to think what will be aligned with their future self. And it doesn't matter if it's like a small thing or like a big thing. I realized that if they're going to have like this little framework, that I would call it a framework, life will be much more easier. And I start to think about how can I scale it and actually make money out of it, because this is something I like to do. I spend hours a day on becoming the best version of myself. I have my morning routine, which is like at least 2 to 3 hours. I have my night routine. I have my weekly routines, that is like journaling, reflecting on my goals, whatever, my monthly routines and everything. And it just takes a lot of time to do all of that stuff. And for me, for the longest time, I was like, okay, it's just a good to have and something that really helps me to become better. But if I can somehow take this stuff that I learned by myself and show it to other people, it might help many more people out there. So let's go to the second thing that made me think about creating this podcast. So I said the first thing was the advice to my friends. The second thing was that I love listening to podcasts. I've been on a self development journey for a really long time, and I've been learning from the best of the best people out there. It started from, Bob Proctor when I was like a teenager. Then later on, when I was like 19, 20, I learned a lot from Tony Robbins, and I also did one of his seminars. Then later on, oh, also when I was 18, I actually converted. I was like without any religion. That's a kind of like funny story. So I converted when I was 18, so I started to learn a lot about Judaism, much more than I knew before. I always grew up as a Jew, but I needed to go through this if I wanted to like be a proper Jew, I would say. That's a great story also for one of the episodes for sure. So also I learned from the religion. Also, I'm not a religion person, by the way, but I learned from the religion. Learned from Tony Robbins. Then later on I learned a lot from Joe Dispenza, and I also did one of his seminars this year. I did real estate investments also, so I learned from one of the best mentors in Israel regarding real estate. Then in the past months, I've been really into Kabbalah, and I actually went to David Guillem's seminar last week. And something that I just realized, and also like I've been listening to many podcasts, I read so many non-fictional books. I think I read like more than 100 books, non-fictional ones, throughout the years. And every day I try to like study and learn at least for like 1 to 2 to 3 hours a day, every day podcast, it can be whatever. And in the past year, 2 years, I just realized that a lot of the things that I'm studying and learning, I actually already know. And I always had the feeling that I don't have enough in order to share to other people. I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough, I don't know, proof. I don't have like I didn't manifest $1 million yet or whatever. And I need to do more stuff in order to be able to share things that I know and I learned and be in this position. And also, like, I really try to learn from the top people in the world about specific things. And for me, I was like, I am the kind of person who learns from the top people, and I believe everyone should do it. But it just hit me that this is kind of like the wrong mindset, because if I'll think that I need to be the top of the top in order to talk and start making some kind of impact and share my voice, it will just never happen because I need to start somewhere. So that was another thing. And realizing that eventually everyone has like the same truth, but different frameworks. And looking at religion, looking also at Kabbalah, looking at even Buddhism, learning a little bit about it, learning from more science, from Joe Dispenza, learning from mental coaches. I also worked with a mental coach about a year ago. I just realized that eventually everything has the same truth, but we all have different frameworks on how to discover this truth. And the mentors that we study from usually have a lot of experience teaching their frameworks and seeing a lot of success in this field. And it started made me thinking about how great can it be if everyone would understand that the truth is just within us, and all the answers that we're looking for are like actually within us. The same way they discovered their frameworks, you can do it too by just tapping into who you meant to be, and the answers will come at some point into your life. And last week, actually, after I was at the David Guillaume seminar, the Kabbalah seminar, I throughout the entire seminar, I was thinking a lot about the podcast idea that I have a few days before that. And something inside me was like, Bar, you just need to start and do it. You just need to jump into the water and just start making the first episode, the first few episodes, and just try it. Like, worst case, what would happen? Like, you tried and you spoke, and worst case, it will succeed. And if not, it's also fine, because I'm practicing and I'm taking a leap for something that I thought that I need to get somewhere in order to be able to create this type of content. So as I was walking back home, I love to walk, and I had like a 1 hour walk. As I was walking back home, it just hit me at some point that I have experience. Like, I've been on a self development journey since I was 14 years old. No, 12 years old. It's been 14 years that I've been on this journey, and I've been through a lot of stuff. And maybe sometimes I take it for granted because, I look at this crazy people that doing incredible stuff and have millions of people following them, and I sometimes compare myself to them, which is totally fine, but at the same time, I'm like, I still gained a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge about the things that I went through, just a little bit about myself. So, my parents divorced when I was 11 years old. And for me, it was shocking because for me, they were like the most loving parents, the most loving couple ever. So, realizing that they're going to divorce was incredibly shocking. Plus, it was, like, I'm the big sister. I have a younger brother. He's 8 years younger than me. So, and growing up in North Tel Aviv, which is like in area in Tel Aviv, which everyone around you, like all the families has money and everything. And I found myself at 12 years old living and start to live a completely different life than I had before. It was a difficult period of time. And I felt like when I always like look back, I felt that when I was like 12, 13, I was a monster. Like, if you look at Bari, who was 10 years old, I was like the sweetest, shyest girl ever. And after the divorce, when I was like 12, 13, I felt like a monster. Like, I was the worst person on this earth. And not because I felt like I'm the worst person on this earth, but because I acted like I was cursing a lot. I was gossiping about friends. I was doing everything wrong. And for me, the thing that helped me to go through this period and become who I truly wanted to be was a lot of journaling, I started running back then. When I was 12, I started to like, even 11, like we had competition in our school, and I really wanted to improve my running abilities. So I started running after school. And because it was at the time my parents divorced, I fell in love with running. So I used to run almost every day just to like clear my mind. So at 12, I discovered journaling. Journaling, I used to always write, but like really, write everything that I was going through. That was kind of new to me when I was 12, and no one taught me that. It was something that I just came up with, and it really helped me. So I had the journaling, I had the running. I started to have like a morning routine. I started eating really healthy back then. Why? I don't know. Like it just something that sparked in me, and I really wanted to do that to become better. And I started to be very conscious about stuff that I'm doing wrong. And it was a really dark period in my life, I would say. But oh, and also I forgot like the main thing. When I was 13, I had bulimia. I had it until I was like around 15, but of course the eating disorder kept going until I was like around 19, 20, and only then I healed completely. And also like the eating disorder and everything, I healed completely by myself. Like I didn't have any therapist, any psychologist, like nothing, or nutritionist, like nothing. I did it all by myself. And I'm proud to say that I healed completely. This will be another episode for sure about eating disorders, because I think it's such an important conversations to have, not only for girls, but also for men, because there's also men that have eating disorder. I just realized that I also went through stuff and I can talk about it, because eventually this is the kind of things that people love hear about me. It just hit me like all these three things hit me, like the advice from friends, the all the mentors that I was listening to. And once I realized I actually have experience in like in this kind of stuff and self-development, and 14 years, it's quite a lot, like going starting this at 12 years old. Also, I've been on a spiritual journey for, I don't know, like I need to count how many years, but at least since I was like 18, 17 maybe. So it's been a long journey, and I'm here and I can't wait to start sharing this, because I've been sharing my friends for the longest time. I've been sharing my journal, sometimes Instagram, but I think that this platform will give me much more space to be open and to actually show you the mindset that I have, and the mindset that I try to have in order to create the life that I want. And for me, this podcast, I want it to be practical and simple. And hopefully that people who find it hard to connect to their like spiritual stuff will find themselves here in the podcast and enjoy each and every episode. Also, like, it's really important to say something that I really believe we're all the same. Okay. I hope that every episode that you're gonna listen to is gonna spark something inside you. Also, I really believe that all the answers are within us. Hopefully, you will get from this podcast is the how to know yourself better, how to like actually become better every day, and how to be 100% you and become the best version of yourself every day, and to be that lucky person you maybe always wanted to be, and hopefully you are feeling the luckiest person ever. But to live your life as 100% you, because this is the most freeing thing in the world, to feel that you don't own anyone anything, and you're just doing things that you love, and that you feel connected to yourself. It will bring so much light into your world and connect you to the right people, to the right relationships, to the right partner, to the right career and purpose, and just to the right situations. But in order to get to that place, you really must know yourself. So I really hope, and I will try my best. And also, feel free to comment and tell me what you would like to hear, and also help me to make this podcast the best it can be, that I can actually like serve and help and make a difference. So with each episode, if you have any comments, feel free to comment. I know in Spotify you can comment, and also like you can jump on my DMs on Instagram or whatever platform you're in. So I'll try my best to give you the most practical tools on how to create life that you feel that you are living as 100% you. And I'm very excited to just take you on this journey, because I feel like every day I have new stuff and like new things going on, and very exciting things that I discovered by myself. Like I'm obsessed about discovering myself every day. And for some people, it might look crazy, but for me, it's like something that I realize that is much bigger than me. And this is just part of my purpose to just like learn about myself and discover it every day more and more. So I hope you'll get inspired and I hope you will love and each and every episode. I'll make them weekly episodes. I don't know yet which day it's gonna be, but if you're hearing this podcast already, so I probably decided on which day it's gonna be, and the day you're listening, that's like the day you're gonna see the podcast every day, every week. I'm sorry. So I hope you like this episode. It's my first time, and as I said, this is like introduction episode. I'll try my best every time to give you my best, and it might take a few takes every time to deliver the best episode. It will take time. Like also like this episode, this is the third time, fourth time I'm recording. Also like I made voice notes on my phone yesterday and today trying to like talk about this episode. So it probably would be like the sixth or seventh time I'm recording this. And I'm sure it's not perfect yet. Like I'm sure I was like, have a lot of moments or saying certain words that maybe are not in this right place or whatever. But, we need to start somewhere. And this is also kind of my message to you that if you have the intuition, that's like the first thing. Okay. If you have an intuition about something in the next week, try to keep it to yourself and just don't tell anyone. And something that I heard last week on the seminar of David Gann that I heard, and I really loved it. He said, on the first 24 hours that you have intuition about something, just take an action and start doing it. And that's why I actually started producing it because I had the idea. It was last Friday. And then the day after, I just started writing what's the outline of the podcast. I thought about the name. I thought about the the content. I have thought about the logo, like everything. So that was like my first step. So I encourage you, if you have any intuition and if you don't know how to recognize your intuition yet, I promise you, one of the first episodes, I think it's going to be the fourth or fifth episode, it's going to be about intuition. So I'm going to lead you there and following your intuition and know and recognize and know how to recognize your intuition. I think it's the most fascinating things ever and the most important things in order to like live the life that you actually want. So if you know how to recognize your intuition, I encourage you to listen to it this week. And if you have anything that pops up in your intuition, just sit with it and take an action in the upcoming 24 hours and just don't tell anyone until you have something in your hand that feels comfortable sharing. And for the people who don't know what intuition is, I will say just in short, I would say that intuition is like a falling star. It can be the most random thing ever that just jump into your head and out of nowhere you see this falling star. So this I would call intuition. I hope you got it. But if not, we're gonna talk about it later, I promise. This is probably like the my favorite topic I would like to talk about. Thank you for everyone who listened to this podcast, to everyone who reached to the end of this episode. I really, really hope you enjoy it. I hope you took something from this episode. Although it was like an introduction episode, but sometimes you need to do those too and just have the story and tell what's gonna happen before you start it. So I hope you have an incredible day, incredible week. And I can't wait to let you join me on this journey. See you next week. Bye.